Okay, in this video, I want to talk about another one of the reasons I think that narcissism just keeps spreading, or narcissistic behavior, besides that of just keeping, everybody, I don't like the word ignorant of it, not having, them in grade school, psychology, sociology, that kind of thing, to teach people how to think critically. Besides that one, I have another one I want to talk about. And that's something that I have noticed years ago, many years ago, probably at least in the 90s. That may have been the next time, one of the times. I might have thought about it before, but I remember distinctly in the 90s thinking about it. And it involves professionalism. Actually, back then, I was a member of a really big group of people. I didn't know everybody. There was so many people. But they had parties and everything, and I went to a party, and I was thinking about how some people are taught to be sophisticated. Okay, there are people there who, and they had like cliques, how any group, big, large group, winds up having. And some of the people were really sophisticated. And to me, I can go, I'm kind of middle ground with that. But one of the things I thought about, what is that about people being so sophisticated? What are they doing? Okay, now at this point in my life, some would be this way, but some not. Anything is like this. It's what some people would call covert narcissist. They're hiding what they truly think, and that's what was taught to people, was to be sophisticated, to be, right in the world. You don't say what you think on everything. Now that's true. But this, I think, some people got it so deep, within them, that it led to some narcissism, I think. Some of this covert narcissistic behavior, because people become very skilled. I'm just, thinking about this, and I haven't thought about it since way back then. But it's like they develop some kind of skill on how to have their face, a poker face, while they're telling some lie. Okay, and would make it harder to tell which ones are doing that, which ones are the covert narcissists, and which ones aren't. Back then people didn't use that kind of terminology, but it would make it harder because everybody's trying to be sophisticated. They're play acting. They're not being their true, authentic selves. They're being what they're told to be. And some of us know that's not a good road, to be told how to be. There are manners. There are ways of behaving, sure. You don't walk outside naked, that kind of thing. But some things are taken to an extreme. And I think that's around the time things started getting out of balance, really out of balance. Basically in the 90s. Okay, I've been around since the 60s. So, I've seen a bit. I've seen a thing or two in my life. But another thing that it seemed like it cropped up mainly right after that. And don't think that I hadn't been around sophisticated people before in my life. I had, I have an accent. Don't judge. Don't go there. Don't make assumptions either. You'd be wrong. But anyway, around that time is when I'd say a little after, is when it was pushed more for people in, professional fields to, I was studying professional field, so too, and, college and university, and they were taught more to keep their own personality out of it, okay, especially in psychology. And I can just even give this as a little example of it. In psychology, back then, when you wrote, you had to write a lot of papers. Okay, you have to write a lot of papers in psychology. You have to write a lot of papers in sociology. In psychology, you kept yourself out of it. You didn't even write the word I. You couldn't write me, mine, anything like that. That showed you in that paper. It had to all be like, what, you didn't exist, really, seriously. Now, around the time I graduated, they were even remarking that this was changing, because it's wrong. It is, to my opinion, it is. Because I also got a degree, 2 degrees, in sociology. Now, in sociology, you had to put yourself in the paper. Okay, you had to show if you could, any bias or biases you had, agenda, whatever needed to be, You need to say it right up front. This is who I am. This is why I think the way I do about this topic. And then go from there. So people could make their own decision on if they want to, follow your train of thought on this, follow your way of viewing that situation or not. And we should all know that not everybody in this world is going to agree on anything. But that level of sophistication, this is one of the things, sophistication or professionalism, doctors being told, healthcare professionals, mental, physical, healthcare professionals, maybe not all of them, but it was like a little trend to be taught to distance yourself from your patient or client. We call what some call patients, and like counseling, we call them clients. And to distance yourself from them. Don't get involved. Don't get personally involved because you'll burn out. Well, guess what? And this is my opinion. I'm not an expert, or anything. But that, you need to build a rapport. You need to have some warmth. You need to seem like a human sitting there when you have somebody in for counseling. Being all cold and everything, what do you think a lot of people have felt in their lives? To be around people who were cold, who didn't really care, who weren't there than when you were there. They were somewhere else. They were keeping that straight face when something was going on, bad was going on. I always thought it was a bad idea, and I still do today. And you can still see it today. I'll tell you a story, actually. I had a deal one time. It took almost all day to deal with this cable company on something. It went beyond just something, that they need to send somebody out for. It was something they put on my computer. Had put on my computer and all this kind of stuff. It was really messing my computer. Anyway, they finally got me to the right person. And she was a woman around my age, and the rest of them were acting so cold. They were acting like computer programs. And that's kind of a little psycho, really. To be taught to act like a computer program. Ooh, man, that whole thought scares me. Seriously, you're dehumanizing people. You're taking away them and this being human to tell them this is how professional must behave. That's wrong. Plain and simple in my book, wrong. Anyway. So I got to this one woman. She was around my age, and I was fit to be tied. I don't even know what that expression means anymore. But anyway, I was ticked off, and and I let her know. I had been on all day with these their customer service. Some of them would hang up on me. The phones would go to some weird sounding. I could hear the whole office. They were having trouble with their lines. All this kind of stuff. Excuses. Not my excuses, theirs. But anyway, and I told her I was angry. I was ticked off. Anyway, she gave as good as I gave. That's all there is to it. She gave as good as she got. I wasn't abusive to her or anything. I just let her know I don't appreciate the way this company is acting. And I said it with a stern voice. Well, she came right back with a stern voice. She was real. I was happy. This was a real person with actual emotions, actual thoughts. She wasn't some, corporate robot, that they made humans into. She was real. I mean, boy, my accent coming out with that one, didn't it? But she was real. She was a real human. And that's what I think is missing so much in this world, is real people when you call. Not these automated systems. That's another story. Okay, I better get to where I'm wrapping up this video. Adam's going to wonder what happened to me. Then again, he might be glad I'm gone. So, anyway, because I'm chatty today. But yeah, and I'm not chatty every day. I've had a lot to say. But yeah, that sophistication. Now, I can act sophisticated if I want to. I taught at college and university. I know how to act all prim and proper, and what did I teach? You know what I'm saying? But I was a little more laid back. Some people might refer to me as a hippie. They have, actually. Being Texan and kind of laid back. But, anyway. So I know how to be that. But why? Why do I want to push myself to that level? It's fake. It's fake. I've seen enough fake people in my life. I've seen enough people who put up this mask. Many of us know about what that means, don't we? they wear these masks, these different, we all wear different masks and different hats in society. I remember when I was younger, and Adam first introduced that whole story about the different way you would, if you saw a banker or what back then was called bum on the street, what way do you, they're walking towards you, how would you behave differently? Yeah. But we do. We act different, but I think it's gone to a bizarre extreme. Yeah, I hope it's adjusted after the bridge. If I go under the bridge, it readjusts the visual. Anyway, so, but I think what this is, that really is, this is corporations teaching narcissism. I think I did a video mention that in there recently. I don't know, but yeah, I was going there. That they're teaching people to not be human, to be this, and some people start working in these places when they're really young, really impressionable, just right out of high school, basically. And they're taught that you don't put yourself in there. Now, burnout, come on, really? Counselors, real, healthcare professionals, know to go to their own counselor. They see their own counselor. They're taking on a whole lot of things from their clients. That they're holding a lot of secrets. They're holding a lot of pain. They have inside of them, because they generally are people who feel empathy. So they're holding all this in. They see another counselor, and that other counselor, that you can get it released. The people, professionals, true professionals, know how to do that, with one another. Or you work in a team and you discuss it, and that keeps it from bottling up. But to be cold to a client, shivers. Some people say, well, true, one knows how to behave and make it look like narcissism. I'm sorry, I'm calling narcissism on that. That's what it's made to look like. If you're faking it, there are people out there in this world, and we all know them. We might be some of them. I know I am. I can pick up on that BS, really. I mean, I'm an empath. I'm an empathic person. Whatever people call it these days. Don't believe in the mystical, magical side of it, but to each their own. I pick up on that BS. I really do. If somebody's sitting there trying to be professional, and I've seen some do this. It's unbelievable. Trying to be professional, and all they're doing is coming off cold. And no. But that's another story. Anyway, I don't know how long this video is as it is. But yeah, that to me, that's corporations teaching this people to young and impressionable, and even if they're older and they were kind of more a little bit isolated when they were younger, or isolated then, that they might turn to that. They accept, if they're not going to. Some people would say, narcissists are born or shows really young. I don't agree with that. One size doesn't fit all to me. It doesn't have to be. That could be, not always. But that person might get to this point where they think that is acceptable behavior too. The narcissistic type of behavior goes. They're learning from their bosses on how to behave. They think a lot of people have this, especially younger people, have this view that their boss, because they're the boss, that they're know-it-all in the world. And a lot of bosses, including one I know personally, not my boss, but I know her very well, believe that just because they are a boss, they know everything about everything in the world. Not even things not even in that field. That kind of job. They know it all because they are a boss. And a lot of people have that kind of view about their bosses. That they know all, they were strong, and they were, somebody you should really follow in their lead because they've made it. No, they BS. A lot of them have BS their way to that. They played the game, They did what was they were told, like good little soldiers. And they can be rather narcissistic. So anyway, you get my point. I think that's teaching people either to become it, to win, or to accept it as if this is just norm. that's the more normalizing narcissism. Seriously. To be sophisticated or to be professional, you must hide all emotions. That's BS. That in fact, as a customer, as a consumer, customer, client, patient, whatever, how do you feel about the person doing that, the so-called professional? Anyway, leave a comment below. If you want to subscribe to this channel, click the circle. If you want to watch another video on this channel, click on the rectangles and comment, share, like. Even this kind of thing with me, I've said it so many times it sounds like programmed, and it kind of gives me the creepies, that whole feeling of what I don't like is like when you call these places and they answer and it's all like a script. I don't like anything like a script, so I try to change that up a little bit. I changed up the beginning of it, and I used to do it a different way every time, the same way. Not the okay thing I'm doing lately, which somebody pointed out, and she's right. But I used to give a little script, and it just bothered me. Anyway, I'm a rebel. No, not really. I'm kind of middle of the road. Anyway, talk to y'all in another video. Bye.